Everybody, this is Bill Nissen, and I wanted to shoot a video of a Facebook Live event that I shared a few weeks ago, but I got such a good response off of that post. I had a lot of people that were going back wanting to share it with other people and look for it, and they couldn't find it, and frankly, I couldn't either. So here it goes. I'm reshooting it, and it has to do with the title was Two Potatoes, and it came out of a book that I had just finished. Well, I shouldn't say reading. I've listened to, Audible, called Coming Out of the Ice. And it's by the story of Victor Herman. He was an American, grew up in Detroit back in the early part of the last century. And his father moved him to the Soviet Union, where he had just horrendous experiences being imprisoned and enslaved. And at the end of his life, he had a wife and two daughters, and Svetlana was his oldest daughter. And they were in Siberia, and they were freezing, and they were starving. And so to keep her mind off the fact that she was hungry, he would tell her stories, and he would hold her at night to keep her warm. And so they're telling the stories about Cinderella and those kind of stories. After a while, those got old, and so she asked him to tell him about America, which he didn't want to do because it was painful for him since he wished he was still there. But after a while, he started, for her sake, telling her stories about America. And he starts talking about food. And he goes, you can have anything you want to eat. You can have turkey, you can have roast beef and all this. And she goes, you mean like two potatoes, Papa? And he goes, no, honey, way more than two potatoes. You can, oh, it's so delicious and succulent. Mm-mm. And she had no reference point. She said, I'm confused. You mean like two potatoes? And he realized she's never tasted roast beef. She's never had turkey. She's never had a reference point to be able to even relate to what he was saying. So he goes, yes, honey, like two potatoes. And so in life, we run into people. You discover something that's exciting for you, that you are moved by, that you are has changed your life. And so you start to share it with somebody, and you can just tell by the look on their face that it's two potatoes. You mean like two potatoes, Bill? They have no reference point to believe or understand or comprehend what you're talking about. And that's because they've never had those experiences. And the reason why this happens is because we have a filter built into our mind that filters out all the stuff out there, all the noise. Some of the noise is actually really good stuff. It's all mixed in with all the other stuff. And so your mind filters out 1.3 million bytes of information every second and helps you filter out just 134 bits of information. That's all you can process at one time. And so what causes that filter to become narrowed down to 134 bits is your beliefs. Now, it doesn't have to be profound beliefs. I'm not talking about always, some faith position. I'm talking about just, I believe this because this is what I experienced, and this is, what I look for. For instance, through my company, I, earned a right to get a free car, and it was a Lexus, and so I went and bought it from a friend of mine who's a partner in my business, and I'm driving it off a lot, and lo and behold, as I'm going down the street, I see Lexuses everywhere. Why? Because my belief changed, my experience changed. When I drove off that lot, I'm now a Lexus owner. So I see Lexuses everywhere. It wasn't profound, it was just true. My experience changed, which then changed my references for my belief system and my history filters. And I had a different belief. And so there's something called BAR, belief, actions, results. Your beliefs change your actions, and your actions change your results. So if you want better results, you need to have different actions. And to get better actions, you need to have a different belief. Now, to change your belief, you need to have different files. See, because right now, all your beliefs that you embrace as normal, all the stuff that you grew up with, that was just your history. From a big picture standpoint, our entire nation thinks that being an employee is normal. But they don't realize that's only been about a 75-year experiment. See, because prior to the Industrial Revolution, when Henry Ford first started making assembly lines and that kind of thing, 95% of our nation was self-employed. it was abnormal to be an employee. Well, now it's abnormal to not be an employee, which is going to change. So we think whatever's normal is our history filters. So most of you have grown up with a surrounding that is defined for you what you expect because it's what you believe, because it's what you've experienced. So if you want to have a different life than what you think is normal, or you need to have a different belief. So if you want to be stretched out of your comfort zone, or you want to help somebody see that there's more possible in their life, what you need to do in order to change their belief is give them new experiences. Now, when I say new experiences, I'm not saying that you have to, pay for a free trip to Europe so they can see that they can live that way. It can be very simple steps where you give them a different experience because they are walking with you and they see how you think and how you operate. That's what happened to me. I surrounded myself with people that could take me where I wanted to go. And I started to see how they live. And I'm like, wow, I don't live that way. If I want to have what they have, I need to live differently. And I started seeing how they think and how they thought. And that gave me a different experience. It gave me a new understanding of work ethic. It gave me a new understanding of having a strong mindset, because they were running into the same obstacles I'd run into, but their response was completely different. And so that was my new experience, that people can have a different response to the same issues that I run into. So one of the things you can do, and that I'm trying to do for people, I am doing for people, is giving them different experiences by leading them, mentoring them by how I live. So it doesn't have to be you, flipping for a vacation. It's you letting them see a different way to live. And this is true in my church setting and also in my business settings, is there is a different way to walk out your faith. There's a different way to walk out your business aspirations, every aspect of life. So we need to hang around with people that will call us higher so we can see how they've done it, which is now a new experience that will then attack or confront the experiences we have right now that have created our files or created our references that make the files. Once you've got enough experiences, you're going to start seeing your files flip, and you're going to start seeing your belief change. And that'll change your actions, which will change your results. I know that sounds pretty simple, but it is. The process isn't simple, but the concept is. So if you see yourself as somebody that's hearing everything I just said and going, is this two potatoes? Then we need to talk. Because that's the problem, is we're used to two potatoes when there's a whole lot of roast beef and a whole lot of good stuff we can munch on out there. And you just have to have a different experience so you can comprehend what I'm talking about. So I hope this is helpful. And I hope that was true to my original Facebook Live story. But he wanted to get his daughter out of the Soviet Union, which he eventually did. But at that time, she didn't know what he was trying to take her out of. She just had to trust her papa. Because all she knew was two potatoes. Later on in life, she knew what steak was. So that's the good news. You can know what that is like as well. Take care.